about if you have a team with 20 people on it.
Mhm.
That means 95% of the work that is being produced on that team comes from people other than you.
Hello and welcome to the inaugural Newbrick Partners Leadership Book Club. I am excited today to be joined by a leadership expert, colleague, and friend, Amy Mills. Hi, Amy. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Jaclyn.
Excellent. All right. So let's jump into it. You read a lot, you refer a lot of fantastic books, and I'm curious, what is your one favorite book that you always will refer when coaching and developing leaders?
Or as an industrial and organizational psychologist and also a certified coach, my favorite leadership book is The Leadership Pipeline by Ram Charan and colleagues. And it's not a new book, but it's one that's very influential and has helped a lot of leaders in their development journey.
Yep, it's a classic. So, what makes the leadership pipeline stand out compared to all the others?
Mhm. The leadership pipeline talks about how leaders go through transitions or passages in their leadership journey in organizations. They start out often as individual contributors, they're leading themselves. Then they may be promoted to lead others, they may lead managers eventually, and then functions, businesses, and even the whole enterprise. And they're going through a lot of these changes, and we've had the opportunity to work with people who have gone through these experiences. So, Jacqueline, I like to tell a story about a woman I worked with. She had 10 years of amazing work experience as an individual contributor. And that work was based on quite a bit of education that she went through before starting her career. She was incredibly successful. She was so successful that she was promoted to manager, eventually to manage a function, and even to manage a business. But she was burned out. She wasn't as successful as she was early in her career. And what was happening is she was relying too much on old skills and behaviors that were no longer serving her well. She was doing too much individual contributor work and not working through her team and developing her team enough to do that work. That story was very much supported by the teachings of the leadership pipeline.
It's so true. And the phrase, what got you here won't get you there, is coming to mind.
Yes, that's so true. And think about if you have a team with 20 people on it.
Mhm.
That means 95% of the work that is being produced on that team comes from people other than you as the leader. You really need to make sure that the team is capable and ready to be able to do that work. It's not so much about you as the leader if 95% of the work coming out is from members of your team.
So interesting. So, reading the leadership pipeline, how did it influence your perspective on leadership?
Leaders think about as they're promoted through an organization, they need to do more and more work. And the reality is they need to do different work and to focus on different things and to learn new skills about how to lead. But this also means they need to give up things. Just like the example I shared, the leader needed to give up those old skills and capabilities and focus her mindset and the time she spends on things to other capabilities. So it's a pretty big shift for leaders.
Okay. So, what lessons from the book do you actually still use to this day?
Yeah, it's the different skills that are required, the letting go, and that is so hard for people. What we find is when we talk with them about why is it that you're holding on to maybe technical work that you used to do in the past or driving results? It's because they like it. They've had a lot of training in it. It made them successful in the past. So it's fun. It's fun for them and sometimes hard to let go, but that is probably the most important thing for leaders to recognize.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the start, stop, and continue exercise is so powerful.
Yes, we talk about that quite a bit at New Brick Partners. One of the things that this book does emphasize as people move through passages of leadership and that we work on with our clients is we will often have them sit down with us and go through where they're spending their time. And then we compare that to where they should be spending their time. And I want to say 99% of the time, leaders are surprised to see how much time they are spending driving day-to-day activities in the business, maybe using their technical skills to run the business when really they should be focused on strategy. They should be focused on building innovation. Maybe it's change transformation, building the culture of the organization. And they're often pretty surprised to see that difference in the time they spend.
It's great. Okay, so if I were your coachee, how would you recommend this book to me?
I would recommend that you really think about the level where you are. I mentioned how in the leadership pipeline, it talks about leaders moving from maybe managing others through to leading the enterprise. So if I were coaching you, Jaclyn, we would talk about where you are in that journey. And the book emphasizes the kinds of things that you should be focused on at that various stage. So we would look there and think about what are you working on and what are you focused on and really what you should be in making that comparison.
Fantastic. I feel like there's a lot of light bulb moments happening
Yeah.
in the coaching.
There truly are. Yes, absolutely. And you do hear too, Jaclyn, people saying, but I like to do that. You may like to do that, but if you're leading an enterprise, there's a different skill set required.
So I hear a lot of executives say that this book has helped them tremendously. But how has it helped you in your leadership style?
That's a great question. As a technical expert myself, so my background and training is as an industrial and organizational psychologist. So when I was first hired, it was for those technical skills and capabilities. And I loved doing that work and was able to grow an organization to the point where I was tapped to begin to lead people and to lead teams. And for me, I had to embrace delegating. I had to ensure that the people under me had the capabilities they needed to be successful. It was less and less about me and much more about the team. So when you're promoted, it's building their capability and lifting the team up and giving them space to do the work they need to do. I, as a leader, shouldn't be doing the work that the team needs to be doing, and that helps them learn as well.
So fantastic. It is always exciting to see our clients elevating into that enterprise leader.
It is very rewarding.
Okay, so with that said, who would benefit from reading this book?
That's one thing that I think is so nice about the leadership pipeline. It is a book that can be for anybody because it looks at if you're managing yourself as an individual contributor, if you're managing others, managing leaders, and as I mentioned before, all the way up through managing the enterprise. So I do think it has wide applicability. It also is helpful for talent managers to understand this book because people need leadership development. They need to understand that, as you mentioned before, the famous Marshall Goldsmith quote, what got you here won't get you there. It's different skills and capabilities. So they need to let go of things from the past and embrace new skills and capabilities they need for the future.
All right, so last question. If you had to sum up the leadership pipeline in one sentence, what would that be?
The leadership pipeline provides a strong roadmap for leaders to understand the passages they will go through as they're promoted through an organization.
Thank you so much, Amy, for joining me today. Once again, the book is The Leadership Pipeline by Ram Charan and colleagues. You can get it anywhere books are sold. Thank you so much and have a great day.